The OK Senior Final here at Cremona. The drivers from 14 years of age and over, they will battle for supremacy in fantastic fashion. These are the kings and queens of the sport, and this is one of the only forms of motor racing on the planet where men and women really do run equal and in the same level of respect. It's going to be fabulous to see what these guys and girls do in their OK final. 25 laps of the Cremona circuit. Luigi Coluccio, the Italian stallion in the Sodikart factory operation, alongside the Red Bull young gun from Thailand, Enzo Tarnvanichkul, with Sebastiano Pavan, Rene Lammers, and all the rest of them snapping at their heels. Luigi Coluccio in prime position, hoping to bring the Italian flag onto the top of the podium here in Cremona.
He's certainly got a good chance of getting that done. 5 qualifying heat wins, pole position, 16th in the championship, but he starts this one on pole position on that inside row, and he's got his teammate right behind him to give him a nice bump draft in towards turn number 1. But starting alongside them, though, Enzo Tarnvanichkul, who is a driver who's certainly going to be bringing it to him. 4 qualifying heat wins, a second, 5th in qualifying. He sits there in P5 in the championship. He has got a task ahead of him here as he primes himself ready to get going. Cool, calm and collected in his post-race interview yesterday. He has no trouble of knowing what he is about to do, and right there, he looks ready to go racing.
And as the youngest member of the Red Bull Academy as well, he is absolutely loving life. A couple of weeks ago, he was a guest at the Red Bull Ring in the Austrian Grand Prix. Looking forward to what his future could look like 10 years from now. That would be really exciting, wouldn't it, to see yet another member of the Direct Drive World's Best Karting alumni in Grand Prix racing. Sebastiano Pavan, the new tiger within the Italian squad at Sodikart. There is something about racing in green, white and red when you are from Italy. There is a big passion amongst these karters. When you get to go to Sodikart, it is a big moment in your career. Sebastiano Pavan has drunk it all in and he has exploded onto the scene. He got a podium finish in the European Championships back in Třinec in the Czech Republic. He has a chance for a win today. That really would be very special indeed for Sebastiano Pavan.
Dominant performance from him over the course of the weekend. 2 qualifying heat wins, 2 second places and a 3rd. He qualified 4th, but will have a good run. But then this driver here, Rene Lammers, another driver who you've got to keep a close eye on. 3rd overall in qualifying. Brilliant session on the first day. He had 3 qualifying heat wins. It all went P-tong when his rear bumper fell off in the 3rd heat. He finished 22nd after receiving a technical flag. He finished P6 in the other one of his heats. He is certainly wanting to get onto this one. And, of course, he won the Super A race earlier on today. Keep a close eye on him. But then also this driver here, Louis Iglesias, who just gets himself sorted out. And who is he dropping that off to?
Jeremy Iglesias himself.
Yes, he is. So there you can see he's getting himself primed and ready for this one. Louis Iglesias 5th in his B Super Heat.
Do you know what? There is the mark of an amazing talent. Gabriel Gomez, who starts 27th on the grid, has just walked all the way to the front of the starting grid, and he has shaken hands with everybody, every single driver that he's going up against. That is the kind of racing driver Gabriel Gomez is. He's not in this for the rivalry and the bitter ignominy of battle. He's in it for the sporting credence. What about this man, though? Kian Nakamura-Berta for the Prema Racing Team, the reigning European champion. He is also a world junior champion in karting as well. He has pretty much won everything there is to win in the world of direct drive karting. He also has his hand in the gearbox world as well. It's a matter of when rather than if Kian Nakamura-Berta will step into the world of Formula 4 in the next 2 years. But certainly he wants to finish his karting career on his terms. Another man you could say that about is the man who is part of the Mercedes F1 Junior stable, Alex Powell from Miami in Florida. He wears the colors of Jamaica as he is very proud of his Caribbean roots, and he is definitely going to be one of those to watch in the race today.
He certainly will be. An up-and-down performance. He leads the championship, though, still by quite some way, and he is in good steps to gain more championship points in this final. He starts it on the 4th row of the grid. He came 3rd in the Super Heat earlier on today. He was in the B group, and yesterday, well, like we said earlier on, it was a very up and down day. Starting alongside him, though, David Walter, 4th in the A final, in the A, well, the A super heats, I should say. He certainly had a good weekend. Qualifying didn't go his way. 30th in qualifying. He certainly made that up, though, through the qualifying heats. His worst result was a P7. His best result was a second place. That was in his first race yesterday in the qualifying heats. He also had a 5th and a 3rd place finish. So he has been up there in the top 5 area all the way throughout this weekend. He is certainly one to keep a close eye on. But starting alongside him, Martin Molnar. Well, Martin certainly had a good qualifying, 2nd overall, only about 27th in the championship, but has had a good day. 5th and a 2nd on the first day of racing. Yesterday was just about as good. 4th, 6th and a 4th place finish for him. Certainly has been up at the sharp end earlier on today. He also had a good result as well. So keep a very close eye on Martin Molnar, the Energy Course driver in the 270. Starting this one on the 5th row, he will have this man alongside him, Dimitri Matveev, who will have a solid race on this one. He had a solid qualifying as well and a few qualifying heats. He certainly was up the sharp end. Keep an eye on Dimitri. He is certainly a driver you do not want to have behind you going in towards turn 1, I can tell you that.
Certainly isn't. He's only just come back from a rather prolonged state of injury as well. So good to see him making his return to the karting stable, and obviously having to do so midway through the OK Senior season, which he should have had a really decent run of. There is the judge of fact on the starting grid, Ross Upton, just displaying the boards. It's going to be fascinating to see how the contenders will continue to play out. I love the fact that the sticker of appreciation for Dylan Van Toff has been placed on every single one of his marker boards, and I think you're going to see that sticker quite regularly in and around the RGMMC paddock in months to come. Nathan Tye, the man who has steered the ship at Sodikart for the last 3 motor racing seasons. This team was on the verge of collapse. Nathan Tye decided to take a chance with them. In his first season, he visited the factory. They treated him like royalty. He has paid them back in kind with success after success after success as a junior. He steps up in the senior category. He is the Lone Ranger in the Sodikart factory team on the grid this time. He's definitely going to have a very tough mission of it. Speaking of Lone Rangers, the only one of the Energy Course drivers to match Martin Molnar for speed is Thomas Stolchamanis. The two of them have really raised the game of the Energy Course factory outfit. Mick Panagada and the crew are very impressed with what Martin and Thomas have done over these last few months. They've definitely put in some great displays. Here is the man who was last year's European Junior Champion. He'll only have that honour for another 2 weeks before he hands it to somebody else. But Anatoly Kivalkin for Parolin Motorsport has stepped up to the senior category in fine fashion, and he looks very strong over the course of this weekend. He has put on a brilliant display, so he will try and continue that incredible form as he moves his way up the ranks. Alongside him on the starting grid, it is going to be the young man for Sweden in the Ward Racing Team. What a brilliant performance this weekend it has been for young Leo Nilsson. He was so strong in time qualifying, found himself on the 2nd row of the grid for every race he started, has had his difficulties, but he's still very much in contention, still on the verge of the top 10. So do not count Leo Nilsson out. He will have an opportunity and he will take it.
He certainly will. The 1 minute board goes up at the start of the grid. This race is about to get underway. Some drivers already seated, some drivers still standing up, ready to get themselves going for this race. You can imagine the tension starting to build, the championship getting ever closer, but Alex Powell certainly, all he needs to do here is just keep it nice and clean and bring it to the end of this race. It is certainly going to be an exciting one. The longest race we are going to see throughout the course of this weekend. 25-lap final. One of 36 of these drivers is about to see the checkered flag.
And that will be a distance of 30.25 kilometres. It is tough stuff for these drivers. It doesn't sound like much in the grand scheme of things, but when you consider that these young men and women are just a couple of millimetres off the floor in speeds of these karts comparable to the top sports cars on the road, that will give you an appreciation of just how fast these young men and women are working. So, Luigi Coluccio, Enzo Tarnvanichkul, Sebastiano Pavan, Rene Lammers, Louis Iglesias, Kia Nakamura-Berta, Alex Powell and David Walter. Martin Molnar and Dimitri Matveev from Nathan Tye and Thomas Stodjemanis. Anatoly Kavalkin and Leo Nilsson, Mark Dubnitsky and Kirill Kutskov from Finn McLaughlin and Emanuele Olivieri. Liverweight Sam Budler starts in front of Miguel Costa and Mattia Kolnagi, Alex Bogunovic and Jan Pestrovsky, Xavier Avramides and Ian Eichmans, Gabriel Gomez and Teresa Babichkova, Gazi Motlakar and Arthur Poulain from Simone Bianco, Nicolo Kuman, Emilio Coivisto, Matthias Morgato, Dante Vinci and Francisco Macedo. There is one non-starter, and that is Thomas Strauven, who with rib discomfort has elected to pull out of the final. Very unfortunate indeed for Thomas, but we wish you all the very best and hope that you'll be back up to strength when the OK and OK Junior drivers return 2 weeks from now at Cremona for the European Championships.
Yeah, well said. He was a very quick driver earlier on in the weekend. Certainly is a shame to not see him out there. He did take a heat win as well, but it was the final race where, unfortunately, he had to call it. He pulled it into the pit lane and retired from his last qualifying heat yesterday and did not take part in anything today. So we do wish him all the best. The final of the warm-up laps then about to get underway as drivers will now start to get themselves formed up for this one. Like we were saying, 25 laps this final, 35 drivers in total taking to the track, and well, we are looking forward to this one. Powell, who leads the championship, starts it on the 4th row. Nakamura-Berta, who's second in the championship, starts it on the 3rd row. Both of them, I suspect, will be on the charge to try and catch up to their teammate, who starts it on the front row, Enzo Tarnvanichkul. But Luigi Coluccio, Sebastiano Pavan for Sodikart will have something to say about that. Rene Lammers for Parolin will have something to say about that. And Louis Iglesias for CRG will have something to say about that. It is an action-packed top few rows on that one. Several teams involved in the top fray. And, well, who is going to take it? It's certainly going to be a run to the line.
We don't exactly have wild cards in the Champions of the Future Euro Series, but if we did, Louis Iglesias would absolutely be the leader of them as he prepares for battle on the 3rd row of the grid. But it's Sodikart and Prema front row, a Sodikart and Parolin second row, then the CRG, the Prema and the Koski. This is going to be a fabulous final as the drivers make their way out of the final turn into the 2 tram lines, and we are getting ready for race action here at Cremona. We're racing up to the first corner. Brilliant start from Tarnvanichkul. He's going to lead into turn 1. Not a lot Coluccio can do about that as Tarnvanichkul hits the front. You may not see which way he went with his form, but as they work their way through, several carts going up, including Powell. Powell is one of them. The championship leader, Alex Powell, is out of the race on turn 3.
Oh, and there's heavy damage everywhere. Several carts off the grid, and that's just gone completely wrong. Powell is one of them. Martin Molnar is one of them as well. Disaster for him. Kutskov is one of them. McLaughlin, Oliveri,
Babichkova's there as well.
Yeah. They've half the grid again. They've all gone off, and there's heavy damage to some of them. I've seen airboxes flying through the air as well.
Oh my goodness! What? And there's more problems. More problems. That's Rene Lammers. Lammers and Iglesias. Lammers and Iglesias have tangled on the opening lap. Rene Lammers and Louis Iglesias now fall out on the first lap. The most dramatic of opening laps in the senior category you could ever have predicted. Well, so now we've got Tarnvanichkul, Coluccio, Pavan, Nakamura-Berta and Walter.
Well, at this moment in time, that is not the best start to any race that you want to see, but it's certainly allowed the 2 Premas and the 2 Sodikarts to break away now from the rest of the field. David Walter, who sits another further 2.5 seconds further down the road for the battle for P5. He's got Eichmans, Kavalkin, Stodjemanis, Matveev, Costa all in that battle. But it is, like you say, Tarnvanichkul, Coluccio, Pavan and Nakamura-Berta, the top 4 at the moment. And instantly, Nakamura-Berta is on the back of Pavan and he's fighting for 3rd place.
Well, this blows the championship fight a little bit more open because that massive lead that Alex Powell had is now going to be cut in half as Nakamura-Berta tries to get through on the inside of Sebastiano Pavan for 3rd position. He can't get through for the moment, but it's only a matter of time before he sees the opportunity. So a big challenge up front. It's 2 Premas and 2 Sodikarts battling away for the victory in the final. 5th place is Walter. Then it is Eichmann, Stodjemanis, Kavalkin, Matveev, Costa, Motlakar, Macedo. Unbelievable that Macedo is there as well. There is the move from Nakamura-Berta. He does get through into 3rd place now past Pavan. And through all of that, Gabriel Gomez has gone from 27th on the grid to 13th. He has survived the melee. He could actually get himself into the top 10 here.
He could. And, well, Nakamura-Berta is looking for a top 1 finish in this one as he moves out up into 3rd place. Pavan on the back foot now as he tries to latch on to the back of this one. Coluccio is there behind Tarnvanichkul, and he is slowly reeling in Tarnvanichkul, but it's still a long way to go in this race. Well, then, retirements from this race. Let's take you through them. Rene Lammers retiring, Louis Iglesias retiring, Powell retiring, Molnar, Nathan Tye, Kutzkov, McLaughlin, Oliveri, Bogunovic, and Teresa Babichkova all retiring. Listen to the names that I've just said. That is outstanding.
Yeah, we've had multiple winners and champions taken out in that first incident. Let's look at it again. So look at the start from Tarnvanichkul round the outside. Absolutely beautiful. Coluccio has to be on the back foot. Lammers trying to cut through there in a third position, which he does. He goes for the move. Now, where does it all start? It's about here, down to the braking zone. Bang! They just all drift around.
It was hard to pick it up there. I think just the concertina effect, and everyone at the back had nowhere to go.
My goodness, that is the worst kind of karting accident on the first lap, as multiple drivers get taken out of it. Multiple drivers trying to restart, none of them managing to. There's an airbox going wide. And then there's Lammers and Iglesias toppling over each other.
Well, it looked like Iglesias there, just sending it down the inside through the infield hairpin there of turn 11. And, well, there you go. That just shows there Lammers immediately wanting to get back into the fray. Iglesias just a bit dubious there to, what do I do here? What do I do? Do I grab my car or do I not?
Well, all of them out of the race. Lammers, Iglesias, Powell, Molnar, Tye, Kutzkov, McLaughlin, Bogunovic, Olivieri and Babichkova. They are not slow drivers. They are all podium finishers, all race winners, and they've all gone.
Well, 20 laps to go in this race. Half the grid gone, but eyes will be on these top four, as right now Nakamura is closing in on Coluccio here. The Tony Kart's not looking that quick in this final. The Premas certainly have got the waft here on the two of them, and Nakamura is looking for a few more championship points here as he latches onto that rear bumper.
And Nakamura has absolutely figured out that this is a golden opportunity to move up to fight for the title fight in the Champions of the Future Euro Series. He's now looking at 179 points tally if he stays where he is. If he gets past Coluccio, that's going to be even closer to Alex Powell's 196, which he will now not improve on. So here comes Nakamura right in behind Coluccio. Is this going to be the move? Not yet. Just wait for the opportunity. Surely down at the hairpin on the way into the pit straight. This is where Nakamura is going to size it up. Coluccio's going to be there. Good exit off the turn from Nakamura down to the braking zone for the hairpin. Launches and ignites the move. Second position for Nakamura. Perfect.
Yeah, nicely timed there through the turn 8 hairpin. Just sends it down the inside. Absolutely nothing Coluccio could do there. And now slots down into third place. And I've got to say, Pavan now starting to close back in. David Walter has closed back in as well. The top four, they had a great getaway. But now, David Walter in the Koski is starting to close in. He is right there behind. He's bringing Stolchamanis, he's bringing Kavalkin and Eitman and Matviev along for the ride as well. But Nakamura, who's there now in second place, will start to hunt down his fellow teammate as they go through yellow flags. You were Loveways and Budler.
There's more problems.
Yeah, I'd say there's yellow flags off at the turn 5 hairpin. I can't quite see what's happened. There was a marshal on the runoff of the circuit.
Oh, that is Dimitri Matveev.
Oh,
that is
yes.
Matveev. He's gone off at turn 2, so that's another big name to tumble by the wayside. So Dimitri Matveev goes off into the barriers, and there's damage to another of his competitors. That looks like Xavier Avramides has tangled in with the Tony Kart of the 244 of Jan Petrovsky.
There are karts falling out of this race left, right and centre. What is going on? They're all on fresh tyres. You can't put it down on that one, or maybe you could put it down on that one. There's so much grip out there that everyone is just finding it just that little bit too challenging.
So now we have only got 23 drivers, I think, still running this race. No, 22 with Mark Dubnitsky, so that is incredible. 36 drivers were due to start it. There are only 22 of them actually doing so, because Matveev is now out, so is Petrovsky, and so is the Australian Xavier Avramides, as Walter makes his bid on Pavan and gets through. So David Walter now into 4th position. Wait for his firecracker power. He is going to be right on the back of Luigi Coluccio, and suddenly there might not be a single Tony Kart on the podium.
Well, that would be a disaster for the Tony Kart team, the Italian team who have worked so hard over the course of this weekend, with Luigi Coluccio dominating the qualifying heats. Right now, he is latching on to the last spot on the podium there in P3, but David Walter for the Koski Motorsport team is eyeing up a podium here. It is in his grasp. It is only a couple of tenths further up the road, and all it needs to do is get past Luigi Coluccio. Down they go in towards turn number 8, the hairpin at the far end of the circuit, where we have seen a lot of incidents over the course of the weekend as well, with drivers sending it down the inside, but this time around no moves happening as we now go into the snail section.
I mean, it's quite incredible when you think that with that big an accident, the race didn't need to be either stopped or even put under full course yellows. It's a full credit to Martin Bean, Gonzalo Planta, and the entirety of the Marshals team here. They managed to keep the track green and clean incredibly quickly after such a multiple kart incident. So we are able to have a full, proper race. I don't think the drivers that were involved in the incident are going to feel the same way, but they are the ones that got caught out. So, Tarnvanichkul leads Nakamura Berta in front of Coluccio, the Thai in front of the British-Japanese driver, and then the Italian. Is there going to be Italians on the podium in both races? Not if David Walter's got anything to say about it. He comes from a billion yards back and manages to sweep in again into third.
Nice little dive down the inside. I was literally talking about that the lap ago, of sending it down the inside through turn 8, and David Walter gives us a perfect example of that. And now both the teammates there, Luigi Coluccio and Sebastiano Pavan, are going to have to squabble amongst themselves here, because they're going to think, right, well, I want to finish on the podium here. It's not happening for you. It might happen for me. Can I have a go now at trying to give it a go? And Pavan is all over that rear bumper of Coluccio as they go down in towards turn number 2 now. Very tight here. This is where it all went wrong in the early stages of the race, but again, he can't quite get the move done through this section. They'll go into the chicane now through turn 6, round turn 7, onto the back straight now. This is the best opportunity you've got for a lunge down the inside in towards turn number 8, and you don't see one this time around. The two drivers staying at line astern. And crucially, Thomas Stolchimanis won't be liking that, because he's right there just behind, waiting for a move to happen for him to be able to latch onto the back of these and close the gap.
Very true. The Latvian wants there to be a little bit of banter between these two. Sebastiano Pavan may as well go for it on Luigi Coluccio. He's ahead of him in the championship standings. He isn't in the fight for the title as such, but he's got a much better chance of being there than Luigi Coluccio does. So Pavan, what do you do? Do you go after the sorcerer, or do you just act like a good little apprentice and just sit back and let the team leader run in 4th position? No, you challenge him. That's exactly what you do in the world of karting. There is no team orders in the world of karting, and another driver sat on the sidelines that could be part of this battle. Leon Nilsson now retires from the race. So Leon Nilsson down to 22nd in the rankings, out of this race as well. Very unfortunate indeed, as Pavan continues to chip away at Luigi Coluccio in 4th position.
There are 21 karts remaining in this race out of the 36 that started. That is a huge chunk. And we were thinking that the junior drivers over the course of this weekend were giving us exciting races and, you know, lots of retirements. That does put nothing on the senior drivers in this one. Certainly a very interesting race, but you know, these sort of races, they do happen. You get those sort of incidents, the big pile-ups. It is a tight circuit. I think the smallest part of the circuit, it's 8 meters wide. The largest part over the start-finish lane is 10 meters wide. So there is those little dips and changes there, as we saw Leo Nilsson off the track and in the sidelines. He also just received a warning flag, and that comes with a 5-second time penalty. There is Dmitry Matviev, who was off the side of the circuit at turn number 2, and Javier Ramirez, who was also off the track as well, who certainly wasn't liking that one. The 244 of Jan Petrovsky out of the race and at the sidelines, and there is Leo Nilsson, who unfortunately has just picked up that warning flag.
It's just flotsam and jetsam all over the circuit, isn't it? Absolutely incredible that the race is played out this way, and it sends a warning message to the drivers ahead of the European Championships here in 2 weeks' time. You better behave better in front of the FIA, because they will absolutely throw the book at it. So it could be interesting.
Big book.
That is a very big book.
Yeah.
So Tarnvanichkul, half a second now in front of Nakamura Berta. Are we about to get civil war at Prema? I think we might do, because Nakamura Berta will want to take a victory, knowing that his teammate Alex Powell is on the sidelines, and Nakamura Berta can close right up in the title fight. Nakamura Berta is currently on 184 compared to Powell on 196. If he can catch and pass his teammate and get through to the victory, they will pretty much be close to dead level. There will only be a couple of points in it, between the two title contenders. So Nakamura Berta is absolutely going after Enzo Tarnvanichkul. They've completed 15 laps. They've got 10 to go. He's got plenty of time and nothing to lose.
To put it into context, that last lap, Tarnvanichkul was purple sector 1, Nakamura Berta was purple sector 2 and 3, and Nakamura Berta set the fastest lap of the race, 47.968. He's definitely closing in on his teammate, but, I mean, Tarnvanichkul, yes, okay, he is leading this race. He is doing exactly what he needs to do. He sits 4th in the championship standings, 141 points. Nakamura Berta, who is 2nd in the championship, he most definitely wants those extra points to his name, but so does Tarnvanichkul. Yes, they are teammates. Yes, they are great at the job that they do, which is kart racing. But between the two of them here, I reckon it is going to be a 2-horse race to the end.
Do you know what this all tells me, actually? In 3rd position at the moment is David Walter for the Corse Motorsport team. He has been quietly getting on with this. He's worked his way past the Tony Karts. He's worked his way past everybody bar the Premas. The only thing that's really held David Walter back this weekend was a poor qualifying performance. If they get it right in 2 weeks' time, there's no reason at all why David Walter and the Corse Motorsport team cannot challenge for the win in the final 2 weeks from now in Cremona. I mean, they're only in 3rd position now. The Danish driver's done a fantastic job to get himself into a podium position. In 2 weeks from now, if they fix their qualifying form, he's absolutely a contender.
Exactly. Qualifying is very important over the course of a weekend. Yes, drivers could feel like they can say, oh, you can sit back in that one, make it up in there, do that. Yes, you're right, but it means a lot of work. It means using your tyres through that time, and of course it all falls down to the superheats where you get some more championship points. But for him, yeah, you're right, a bad qualifying certainly did cover his weekend, but like you're saying, he could come back in 2 weeks' time and improve that one. But right now, do I say he's latching onto the back of the two in front? No, I don't think he is. Those two have driven off, but Coluccio and Pavan are still right there behind him. The battle for 3rd has not disappeared just yet.
The Brazilian karting fan base are having an absolute nightmare of a day, even though all 3 of their big names, Miguel Costa, Gabriel Gomez and Matheus Morgato, are still in the running because they're outside the top 10, despite all of the badinage and craziness that has happened in this race so far. Miguel Costa is down in 12th. Gabriel Gomez is in 14th, and the world champion from last year, Matheus Morgato, is only 15th. So they are really struggling, and you would expect, with the fact that we've got 21 drivers still running in the race and a full contingency of 15 retirements or non-starters, that the 3 Brazilian drivers there, Costa, Gomez and Morgato, would absolutely be towards the sharp end, but they're just not. They've had a very tricky final here.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, you can put that down on the circuit. It is a very technical circuit, very demanding. We go on to the widest point now, and, you know, a lap around here, very, very quick. It's very fast. Turn 1 and 2. Nearly, I think it's nearly flat out for a lot of these drivers. They can just send it round the corner. There's so much grip out there. Slight braking for 3 and 4. This has been the pinch point of the circuit while they go into 5. It's where all the accidents have happened. The fast chicane here of turn 6 and 7 as you go onto the back straight. Down the back straight now as they go into the heavy braking zone of turn number 8. Very fast sweeping, slightly cambered apex there to turn number 8. Very, very fast section of track, but then you go into the tight, twisty section of Sector 3, and that's where it all goes wrong. This battle further back, though, is certainly very interesting. Gazi Motlaka, who is there in 9th place, has got Francisco Macedo, Nicola Coman and Miguel Costa just behind. That battle is far from over.
Certainly is. Nicola Coman ramping up the battles there to try and work his way forward. So Nicola Coman trying to get the move on Macedo down the main straight. This is an absolute Rosberg versus Hamilton, isn't it? These two are absolute masters of their craft. They're running out in front. They are trading fastest laps, and they are battling to try and outsmart the other over the course of the race. Back down here in the fight for 9th, and Gazi Motlaka, the young man from Mozambique, still very much an active force in this one. He has been one of the beneficiaries of the incidents around him, and he is absolutely in that top 10, deserving of decent points from the final. Up the inside, Macedo tries. He was not close enough, and that's going to back him into the warpath as here comes Nicolo Coman, who has been one of the kings of the fast lap over the course of the last 18 months in the OK category. Can he zip up the inside of Macedo? He's not quite close enough to commit to the move. Miguel Costa right there in 12th as well. Watch out for Mattia Colnaghi in the CRG behind him. And then you've got Gomez and Morgato, the 2 Brazilian superstars, 14th and 15th place. Again, Nakamura Berta closes the gap down a little bit on Enzo Tarnvanichkul with another new fastest lap. They're now in the 47.8s up front. The only driver that can even get close to them on lap times is David Walter on a 48 flat. But these two absolutely pushing it. Tarnvanichkul trying to get away. Nakamura trying to get him to make the mistake.
This is going to end up in a battle here. I can just feel it. Nakamura is going to send it at a corner where I don't think any of us are going to expect it, because Tarnvanichkul will be checking over his shoulder, I suspect, any point now. No, he doesn't. He stays looking ahead. He's focused on what's going on in front of him.
Good boy.
He doesn't want to focus on what's going on behind. Little wide there through the first corner and the second. Misses both the apexes there by the looks of it, taking the slightly wider line. That allows Nakamura to close in just that fraction more. And you can see that Nakamura is just clipping those apex a little bit tighter than what Tarnvanichkul is. And again, he could fall down to that. They're just maintaining these tyres. Remember, brand new tyres. It's very hot out here. It is very easy to blister a tyre if you push it too hard too soon. But right now, between these two of them, so close, absolutely dancing their way around this circuit between the two of them. And it is a symphony of beauty.
It can be so tempting to look behind you at what the driver is doing behind, but that is an invitation for Kia Nakamura to get up the inside. There is a quick check over the shoulder for Enzo Tarnvanichkul. Don't do it again. Keep it going. Just keep pushing. Dig deep. Find a qualifying lap. You've only got 2 laps to go here, and the man behind you is absolutely going to be one of those drivers that will gung-ho and try it. He really wants to take a victory. Kia Nakamura won his World Junior title by finishing second on the road. It was gifted to him when Freddie Slater had his front fairing penalty. He won the European Championship last year through consistency, podiums every time, but not quite the win. So if anybody's going to want to win when the chance is there, it's Nakamura more than anybody else out there. He will really push it. Of course, Enzo Tarnvanichkul is no stranger to victory in the FIA karting world, but in Champions of the Future, it has been lacking a little bit. But he bowed out of Junior last year as the world champion, so it's game on between the two of them. Do not blink, do not force the mistake, make it happen. 1 lap to go.
Here we go then, gaps 0.3 of a second as we take these drivers round the final lap. Tarnvanichkul and Nakamura, the two Prema drivers right now who are fighting for the championship, but not the championship lead, because that's the other Prema driver who's out of this race, Alex Powell, who still leads that one. But between these two, there is only a few more corners to negotiate, and right now Tarnvanichkul just keeps checking over the shoulder, and there goes Nakamura to the inside. There was a slight bit of contact between the two of them, but Nakamura was one attempt, and it didn't work.
No, you don't, sir, says Enzo Tarnvanichkul. Nice try, but you're going to have to catch me on a much sleepier day to catch me out. Brilliant racing for the two of them. Well done to Nakamura for giving it a try. But Enzo Tarnvanichkul hangs on and keeps the win. He dominates at Cremona in fabulous fashion. Pushed all the way by Kia Nakamura. What a great battle. And look at that. The handshake between the teammates. He gave it everything, Nakamura. He had to try. He's a racing driver. It was hard. It was firm. It was fair. But you know what? Enzo Tarnvanichkul held it off. Absolutely magic.
Solid result for Prema Racing then. 2 of their drivers on the podium. But what can you say about P3? Koski Motorsport, the Danish driver, David Walter, rounding out the podium. 5 positions gained in that race. A solid drive from him, getting past Luigi Coluccio and Sebastiano Pavan in that race to gain that podium. He certainly had a tough fight, but there, your 2 drivers on this one, Enzo Tarnvanichkul and Kia Nakamura. What a final fight between those two. And yes, you are correct in saying that Nakamura had to go for that move. You know, once a racing driver, always a racing driver. If you see a gap, you got to go for it. And that's exactly what he did in towards turn number 8. It didn't work out for him, but luckily, thankfully, it didn't wipe the 2 drivers out.
What brilliant racing that was. Enzo Tarnvanichkul takes the win from Kia Nakamura. David Walter, a worthy podium finisher from Coluccio, Pavan and Thomas Stalchemanis, Anatoly Kavalkin, Ian Eichmans, Gazi Motlakar, Francisco Macedo, Nicolo Kuman, Miguel Costa, Mattia Colnaghi, Gabriel Gomez and Matthias Morgato. And then Liverway Sam Budler in front of Arthur Poulain, Dante Vinci, Simone Bianco, Emili Koivisto and Mark Dubnitsky. And that, incredibly, is that. There were 36 drivers queued up to start. 35 of them took the start when Thomas Strauven elected not to. But by the end of the first lap, we had already lost Lammers, Iglesias, Powell, Molnar, Tye, Kutzkop, McLaughlin, Oliveira, Bogdanovic and Babichkova. We also lost Avramides, Bashrovsky and Matveev in similar incidents. And Leo Nilsson 3 laps after that. What a shocker. What a final. What a finale it is going to be in a few weeks' time when the Champions of the Future tees up at Franciacorta, just down the road from here. That is absolutely incredible. To the highlights of an absolute thriller of an OK senior final. Tarnvanichkul absolutely hoodwinking Luigi Coluccio at the start round the outside. It was all fun and games for the field until they came to turn 3. Who touched who first is not important. What is that over a dozen drivers were caught out and 9 of them were out by the end of the first lap.
Heavy damage to many and so much dust kicked up onto the circuit. It made it a challenge for the rest of the grid when they next came round. It certainly made it interesting as the battles continued on. Sebastiano Pavan, who held on for dear life to hold on to that third place spot. That moment there, though, Louis Iglesias and Rene Lammers, who went off the circuit in turn number 11. The two of them out of the race. And again, so many big names out early on. That was the moment that Nakamura Roberta got the second place spot from Luigi Coluccio, who unfortunately dropped out of the race. Well, he didn't drop out of the race, dropped down further in the order. There we saw the several more retirements, and I'm not sure why these ones retired. Were they breakdowns or were they collisions? Because they were spread out all over the first sector.
Matveev, Petrovsky and Avramidis all out of luck. Leo Nilsson would eventually join them. David Walter picking up the pieces, though, in the early stages to assault his way through the Tony Karts into third position. A great performance from the Dane. Leo Nilsson could have had so much more. The final lap, a big, big move from Kiya Nakamura Roberta to try his luck, but he couldn't take on his teammate, Enzo Tarnvanichkul, who takes a beautiful victory here at Cremona. Brilliant racing from the Prema pair, and a very sportsmanlike conduct it was too. Congratulations to our drivers. We will ask once again Ennio Gandolfi of the circuit, Angelo Bergamonte here at Cremona to present the trophies. In third position for Denmark, David Walter! And in second position for the United Kingdom, Kiya Nakamura Roberta! But your race winner here in Cremona for Thailand, Enzo Tarnvanichkul! And finally, we present the trophy to the winning team manager for Prema Racing SRL. Congratulations, Dmitry Belousov! So a hearty congratulations to our drivers on the rostrum. We invite them all to go together on the podium with their trophies. And I'm sure Carre will have a part of the picture as well. There we are, ladies and gentlemen, to Dmitry Belousov, team manager at Prema. Hearty congratulations as well to our drivers, David Walter, Kiya Nakamura Roberta, and your race winner, Enzo Tarnvanichkul. And now comes the moment of the celebration all 3 drivers have been waiting for. Dmitry, you might want to get Carre out of the podium at this point because he's going to get a little bit wet. It's time once again in the Cremona sunshine to get busy with the fizzy. A proper drenching for our 3 drivers here in the Cremona sun on a Saturday afternoon after an amazing drive. Sorry to all the parents. That's going to be some very big laundry bills. Well done to everybody. I'm going to get in there and have a word with our race-winning driver for the Prema Racing Team. Enzo, come and join me back on the podium once again, mate. Up on the top spot. Enzo, just an astonishing week. It started right in from qualifying in P5, but every qualifying heat you were either first or second, and then coming through to today, you just carried it on. How has it been from your side?
I mean, throughout the heats we were always fast, so that was always something that we had on our side. And then I think the whole time we had good speed, and in the final, every lap I was looking behind and I saw Kiyan slowly closing in, but at the end I'm happy to get the best result possible.
It's been a tough start to the year for you in the OK Senior, but now coming through for the victory, what does this do to you for the rest of the year in terms of your confidence increase?
Well, I mean, we always knew that we had the speed. It's just that I never really put the weekend together. I would make mistakes that I shouldn't have made. But anyways, now we've obviously done one good weekend, and that we just have to continue.
Fantastic work. Great job, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Enzo Tarnvanichkul.